to play now. Hey. It's my first intro video. I'm feeling so cool. Hello, everybody. This is Davies, as well you all know, and this is my Master in Diversity Conference and Awards LinkedIn Live show. And it's an exciting one. I have what you saw there just now was last year's conference. Why am I showing you this? Because it's just 2 weeks away. And so we need to book. Yes, we need to ensure that we're here because we want to have conversations like this over and over and over in that space on the 11th of September at the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama, in the zones, amongst the exhibitors, on the keynote stage. We're going to be talking about relationship because that's what it's all about. I have on stage, I want to welcome in my studios today, Burt Kemi Ademola and her daughter, who is one of the studio guests. You know, every time I do this, I say, you know, you can have up to 10 people in the studio. And most people are like, no, they're not coming. Kudos to you, Aderonke. Have I got it right? Ademola? Yes. You've come on stage, but no hazing of your mother, I warned you, right? Don't give her too many hard questions to answer. Yes, so Roger, I am so thrilled. This is what we're talking about because we shared the stage some time ago, didn't we? And here we are sharing another stage. Let me start with you. Tell us about you, Roger, and tell the audience how we met. And while we are, those of you who have joined us, remember how it works. You can put your comments in on the LinkedIn comment section, and it will come through live, and we will talk to you, and we'll just do business together for the next hour. So Roger, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi Bernie, hi everyone. So thank you very much for the opportunity of being here this afternoon. So I'm a senior leader at the Department for Work and Pension, specialising in quality assurance and customer experience. And as part of my continuous professional development plan, I reached out to a partnership organisation known as the Chartered Management Institute to pick up on opportunity to be one of their board members within the southwest of England. And the CMI do have boards all across the UK. And because I'm based in the southwest of England, I put myself forward to be a board member for the Southwest CMI, and I was successful. And then through that, I'm now involved in collaborating with partners right across the southwest of England to increase awareness of learning and the potential for learning in terms of increasing life chances and outcomes and so on. Within that, I'm the lead for Southwest England for diversity and inclusion, and I'm also part of the national network within CMI for diversity and inclusion as well. So within that, when I embarked on the journey with CMI, I didn't quite know what it would involve in terms of practically what it would mean. But really quite soon, there were opportunities put towards me to participate in various activities across the UK to increase awareness of diversity and inclusion. And one of those was invited to be a keynote speaker at the Black Leadership Group conference, which was held earlier this year. And the conference is networked across different cities across the UK. And because I'm based in Bristol, I was invited to be one of the keynote speakers at the event in Cardiff. And that's where I met you, Bernie. And that's where, probably within moments of bumping into each other over a cup of coffee, we established trust and a great relationship that's really led on to lots and lots of collaboration that we've done in terms of raising the profile of diversity and inclusion broadly, but also across Wales. I'm really pleased to be supporting your Mastering Diversity initiative, Really sorry I can't make the conference on the 11th of September, but I'll be there with you in spirit, and do anything behind the scenes to help you with the preparation towards that as well.
Yeah, I had to take you off spotlight when you said about where we immediately over coffee. I had to interject because listen, the minute I saw you in that pink jumper, I knew I found a friend. And now look at him, folks, in those glasses. I mean, everybody knows I love a pair of shades, okay? And and the cow print shirt. You are our kind of people.
Yeah, and I'm on holiday in Spain at the moment, Bernie, here near Malaga for the Three Cultures Festival, which is a reflection on Jewish, Christian, and Arab cultures.
Wow.
And while I'm here, I'm visiting some Dutch friends, which is why I've got a shirt with me that reflects a Frisian cow, which is traditionally not
that's not
culture.
right.
It's all part of diversity and inclusion and inclusivity, and everyone is seen and heard.
And trends, because we all know cow print is trending.
Yes, there you are. I'm always ahead of my time.
It's trending. Kemi, come in here. Come in, Sister Kemi. We can't have the male part of the flaunting their feathers more than us, can we? Come on now.
Can't compete with the shades, but I'll nicely just introduce myself. Well, thanks for having me here, Benny, and thanks for extending the invitation, Roger. I'm Kemi Ademola. I'm one of the leaders at the Department of Works and Pensions, and I'm going to talk briefly about how I connected with Roger. I was seeking a placement as part of a leadership development program at that time, and I was exploring an opportunity for growth and looking for an opportunity to contribute meaningfully within the civil service. And I approached him directly, and like you just said, it was like straight away, I knew that I'd found someone that I could trust and could be a pivotal part of my growth. That conversation led me to joining his team, and I now serve as one of the leaders. Roger, I'm grateful for the guidance and the opportunities and the growth that has been there. Roger is also my executive coach, so we've come a long way in the time I've been there, and I've learned so much.
Wow, that's it. That is incredible. And when you talk about leadership and all of the coaching that Roger has given you, it just it really highlights for me, based on my experience with Roger, that he is not just an intuitive leader, because he knew who, and he always knows who Bernie needs to talk to, what needs to happen. But he's a servant leader, and that is the key. We cannot lead from behind, sitting down, waiting for everybody to serve us. And what do I mean? And why? How could I make such an assertion that Roger is a servant leader? Well, because he actually is serving me right now, another leader. Because what many of you mightn't know is that recently I went through some serious bouts of not being well. The last month has been something else. But Roger, some of those posts that you've seen, all those posts that you saw going out, Roger, he created those posts for me and sent them to me so I could have them. I wouldn't have to think for my content. That's servant leadership for something that is nothing to do with him. And that is what the whole mantra, we go together or not at all, means, because he understands that if it falls down on this other side of the region over in Wales, it is going to affect him in Bristol Southwest. And a lot of us get that. A lot of us think that it's only about our little territories. So I just want to take this opportunity to publicly applaud Roger for coming to, first of all, putting himself out there with CMI, on his path of service, meeting other people who are doing the same and saying, not only do I want to help, but let me bring somebody else in. Let me bring Kemi. Let me coach her. Let me bring her on, and let me give her a platform to share. And what most of you don't know is that when Roger told me that he wanted, he thought Kemi would be a great person to share the stage with him, because it was just going to be Roger and I. But he thought it would be great to have Kemi share the stage with him. He said, I want you to give her an opportunity, Bernie, to talk about some other work that she does. No, that's what we're talking about. That's when we talk about diversity and inclusion, inclusivity, and so on. We think only about the nine protected, and as I said to people, forget about the nine protected characteristics. It goes beyond that. It goes beyond just ticking the box and saying, "Oh, I seem to be doing." It's about caring. So, to that end, I would now like to ask you, Kemi, to talk about the work that you do outside of the work that you do on the team with DWP and with Roger as it relates to your EDI, the other EDI work with the Windrush and
Mhm.
so on. Yes?
Yeah, thank you. So outside of beyond the civil service, I am a branch chair for a charity called the Mothers Union. It's a global charity with presence in over 83 countries around the globe, and very invested in addressing injustices, gender violence, addressing poverty, and very, very particular part of the core values is engaging with initiatives at the grassroots to address issues in the community. And I've been a member for 24 years. I've been a branch lead here for 15 years, and I've been involved in a lot of initiatives. 2017, I decided to form a platform, Black History Month, and I called it Fusion. I used that opportunity to showcase charities, showcase government schemes and services that could be beneficial to the community. And on the back of that, last year, the Home Office engaged DWP looking for opportunities to further engage with citizens, especially the targeted audience around the Windrush compensation and redress scheme. And I thought about it and thought, they have a message that will be beneficial to the demography where I live, that's quite populated. For the targeted audience, about 30% of them. And I have a platform. I contacted them and said, we can work together. Let's collaborate. Bring the message. I have a platform. I have an audience. I have an event, and let's share it. Let people hear it and give them support and guidance as to how to apply for it, what to expect, and most importantly, to bust the myths that is not a thing based on people's experiences. That happened last year. It was a successful event, and on the top of that, I had people come back to me, but six of them that have received compensation to the tune of about 95,000. Now, it's more than just the money, it's the acknowledgement that something was wrong that is going to be put right. And somebody said to me, I will frame that letter for posterity because as a child, I knew it was not right. And so hearing this is saying you were right as a child and you were wronged, and we're trying to put this. So for me, it's being involved in something that is giving people a sense of belonging. It's being involved in something that is legacy, addressing injustice. The story of Windrush to me is that of resilience, is that of contribution. Is that is a story of getting it right and
Yeah.
getting people involved back where they should be.
Yeah, that you said something just now, Kemi. You said, you know, it's not just about the compensation. What that person said to you is so key. It is that acknowledgement that this thing was not right. And
Indeed.
I don't know if you know, I have a legal background, so there it just made me think of this legal maxim. Justice must not only be done, but it must manifestly and undoubtedly be seen to be done. So it's all about how people feel. Do they feel like they're listened to? Do they feel like they're acknowledged? And you could even sometimes, I would think, and I'd like to hear what Roger thinks about this, about the risk at times in our zeal to do good if we do not look at the human element, that part where we treat people like human beings in this, that we could still leave them feeling flat, empty, and excluded in a different way in the efforts that we make because they don't feel like they've been heard, they don't feel like they've been listened to. So I'd love to hear your views on that, Roger. One, and also how you in your organization, whether it's DWP and CMI, how aware you are of that, and what do you do to ensure that we counter any kind of situation of that kind? You're on mute, Roger, which is odd. because I'm not, it doesn't look like you're on mute here. Oh, there. Yeah. Oh, no, you went to again. What's going on? That's what happens on live here, but you're not muted. Try. Yeah, you're still on mute. Edit mic settings. Let's see. What's odd? Let's see. Have a go again. It's saying that you've muted. You're muted. You have muted on that end. Somehow you've muted yourself. You come say something now. Let's see if you're unmuted. You want to no. Okay. Well, in the meantime, Kemi, you want to respond to that while Roger figures out his mic?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
There's a lot of work that's been done, at least when looking at it from the work end, and investment in leadership, focusing on inclusive leadership, focusing as well on the workplace culture.
Yes. Inclusive leadership. I love that. Yes.
Yes. And highlighting the fact that that development must be continuous, and investment in cultural competency as well. And ensuring that when we look around, there's diversity, there's reflection of that around the table when the policy is being made. There's an intentionality. A lot of work still needs to be done, but at least the surface has been scratched and scratched well to focus on that. And it's about the leader themselves being the ones to actually push the agenda, being there actively and not just mere words. And it makes a lot of difference. That is how the culture is created. And if that is what is happening at the top, it automatically flows down, and the people there imbibe that, and it becomes the culture of the moment.
Yes. No, that is so important. You spoke about cultural competency, and that is so key, because we seem to think that because we might grow up in a society where we have it seemingly to some more cosmopolitan, more multicultural than others, we believe that we actually understand the culture. So what would you think, apart from having training seminars, would be the key and important ways to actually start becoming culturally competent?
I believe that there's got to be the education part of it is key.
Yeah.
Community engagement is very important. We need to understand the needs of the communities we're packaging the services for. And is with that understanding that co-creation happens,
Yes.
not going there to drop the stuff, is to create with them and to learn. I think is the humility that you're there to learn and gain the nuanced insight to actually then present the service in the way that it can reach the intended audience. So I believe is a big package of that, and ensuring that there's clear and accessible feedback systems. We need to hear it when it's not working, pay attention to it, and do something about it. And I believe all that sits with the leadership.
Yeah, listening. Really listen, intuitive listening, intentional listening, not just what people say, but what they don't say. Creating platforms, which is why the conference there, the events like the one that we were, the Black Leadership Group event that I was at by Stella, that we create these very many places and spaces where we can have that chat by the coffee machine like we had, Roger, where we can get to know people just in a very safe, in non-intrusive way, to get an understanding. It is not necessarily, we don't necessarily learn formally. Yes, there are some formal things to learn, and we are very grateful here in Wales. We have the anti-racist action plan, which it delved into a lot of research. So with that research and that data, it gives you an understanding, but the research and the data goes only as far as the subjects of the research and the data. So it's still not broad brush. You've got to look at everybody. Yes, we have some idea, but just look at who we actually have in our organizations and create that kind of robust means of communication. There's an organization that I worked with, I did an audit for. One of the things that one of the staff said was, it's just good for them if every time that a meeting is about to start, it's reinforced. It's actually said it's a safe space.
Mm.
Said it last week, but when we come back to the meeting again, just reiterate it is a safe space. As simple as that. It's a little things, but that's them. It's another organization, another staff member needs something else. So, Roger, are you okay now? We've been trying. Oh my gosh, he's
Am I
back!
back? Oh
You're
gosh.
back. We've been trying to fill it for you to.
Well,
Yes.
you did
Oh
very
my.
well, and Kemi, you
Oh,
did brilliantly, because really everything that I'm going to say is going to align with Kemi's brilliant perspectives there. I think there's a few things here for me. One of which is, I suppose, when I started getting involved in what we now call equality, diversity, and inclusion training, maybe 25 years ago, one of the concepts that I came across was the difference between the golden rule and the platinum rule. And the golden rule within diversity and inclusion at the time was stated to be treat people how I'd like to be treated. But the platinum rule was about treating people how they want to be treated. And I think increasingly as we go forward, if we can frame all of our conversations, interventions and discussions with that in mind, plus also recognizing and learning from the great research that's been done around psychological safety and enabling people to come forward and raise their hand when they're uncomfortable or they've got a perspective idea that they'd like to share, I think that will help move us forward. But I do think it's really important that we do think about impact intended and impacted felt, because they can be two very different things.
oh, listen, Roger, I have to interject here. Honestly, could you just say there are two things I want you to repeat? Golden rule, platinum rule.
Yeah.
And what you just said.
Okay.
Yes.
So the golden rule of diversity and inclusion, when I learned it first in this formalized way about 25 years ago, was about treat people how I want to be treated. So that would be based on my value system, my beliefs, my lived experience. I would be treating people aligned to that. The platinum rule, which was quite a fundamental shift in mindset, was about treating people how they want to be treated, which I suppose in these more modern times is more aligned with equity.
Yes.
How do we get to know individuals as individuals for their authentic selves? And then in leadership and interaction, we interact in a way that suits their needs and preferences, not that of the leader.
Yes, and it then also goes into communication. How are you? Unless you're going to sit there and get it through the signals. How do you find out how they want to be treated?
Yeah.
Conversation.
Conversation.
Allow very safe means of feedback.
Yeah.
Yes. Psychological safety, you said it. Those some really you've been dropping some bombs there, and I just don't want people to just yes, honestly, how are you going to treat people the way they want to be treated? You've got to find that out. And how are you going to find that out? You've got to create that psychologically safe space for them to be able to tell you. And then you've got to give them time to do it, because we have to remember that they come to us broken, hurt, suspicious, almost feeling, I don't think, and oh yes, there's going to be some retribution here if I actually speak my mind. You see what I'm saying? So you've got to give it time. So we cannot be here for a short time. We've got to be here for the time it takes. Otherwise, don't take the route that we are all on. Don't take the journey that we are on,
Yeah. And there too, with all of that, you've just kind of triggered a few other thoughts. One of which is, this is about a long experience over a long view. And there is so much around building trust that is relevant to helping and working with others to find their treasure. What is the support that they need to enable them to fully contribute and participate? That trust is such a big part of that. And because trust is often based on our most recent experience with someone, it's important that we have a pattern of trusting experiences with a person for us to feel comfortable.
Or an organization.
Yeah, absolutely. Or an organization. Absolutely.
Yes, because what we can find is that somebody in the organization, right, it's so important. You represent an organization. If you in that organization act in a way that it breaches the trust, another person in that organization has to start from the bottom.
Yeah.
And they're starting at the back foot, because now it's not about just gaining trust. It's about erasing the distrust first, and then trying to build the trust. And I don't know if there's anything anybody wants to talk about that, around that, any personal experiences, any kind of case studies, of course, that you can give, which are within the confines of what you are.
It's kind of ethical to talk about. So I suppose keeping it more general, I mean, I would say trust is fundamental to doing great work in this space. But it's also fundamental to be doing great work as a leader and a community member, because in going about the course of your business in any of those functions, it's very people orientated. It's about interpersonal skills. To build trust with people would likely need to be taking interpersonal risks.
Yes.
Sharing things that might make them feel vulnerable, but making yourself vulnerable with the right person can be a fundamental formation.
I have found that making yourself vulnerable.
Yeah, and certainly generalizing, of course. But when I kind of, as a leader, because of the interest I need to take in personnel matters, typically where you might see an employment tribunal, fundamentally there'll be a pattern in that of a breakdown of trust that has led to a manifestation of a situation or a relationship, which has led to an unhelpful outcome for the organization, but primarily for the individual.
Yes. No, Adronke, I don't know. I just really feel, not knock, I'm preparing you, but when we're talking about trust, because you're a young person, at some point, I would love you to just let me know when you're ready to just share what for a young person, what do the young person need to feel that they can trust us and trust organizations. Yeah. So I would love you to prepare to tell me a little bit about that. Okay. Right. Okay, so Kemi, I am actually quite interested in what you said about the mothers' union in the beginning. Yes, because you're a mother, and you and you're also you've worked closely with the one set of people who have had to parent, the Windrush generation, who have had to parent in a unique way. And I just wanted to know if there's anything that you could ethically share, delve into more in the terms of what we've just talked about, how we get people to open up, how we get people to feel like they matter, how we get people to trust again, because the Windrush generation, their trust, if there is ever a generation that trust was broken, it's them, because they were invited from all across the Commonwealth. And when they came, the people here didn't know they were invited. So, would you like to just share a little about that? And then Ademola, I'll talk to you after, if that's okay.
Yeah, thanks, Bernie. I think one of the things that I picked up along the line, listening to people's lived experiences, is the impact of the whole journey, intergenerational trauma, broken trust, like you said. But the thing as well is they now have a Windrush Commissioner's Office, and that was launched recently. And part of the priority is to rebuild that trust. There's an intentionality about that, and is an independent body away from the Home Office. Yeah. And when I went for that event on that day, you could feel it. It was palpable. People talked about it, and even in the silence, you could hear it. So it was a case of not overlooking or sidestepping the issue on ground, talking about it. Something went wrong here, and we're here to say sorry. And I think that is how for me, the things I've seen, the opening up of people to say, okay, if you want to say sorry, let me hear how you want to say sorry. And I think that is important to say, to know that if something is wrong, whether at any level, at the leadership level, don't sidestep it and cover it or sugarcoat it. Call it what it is and look for means to address it and come to the level of the people, whatever they want to talk about. It went from silence to people talking, to people speaking about their lived experience. And like you said earlier, it's not a here and now thing, it's a long haul. And to
Yes.
be there for the people and with the people with the right emotional support is what I've found to be useful. And I've had a lot of people open up and talk about it, and they can give the support that is needed. Because even though there's a compensation scheme there, they need to own the story, to put it down on paper, to say it happened to me. That in itself is a trigger for many. That in itself comes with trauma, and the support has to be right for people to then start trusting again. That really is the bedrock of it all, is to trust again.
Yes, and the which event did you attend? One in Bristol or one in Wales? Because I know there was
They
one
launched,
in Wales.
yes, they had the initial launch was at Hackney here in London. The launch of the Windrush Commissioner, because he just came into office in June 2025,
Right, so
and then they
you
had
were at the actual launch.
I was at the actual launch. Yes.
Okay, I see. And that was where you had first. There was a bit of silence, and it took a while for people to actually start to engage. That one.
Well, that was I had had my events before, and the journey
Yes,
continued. But that event, there was room for people to talk. They're
yes,
allowed to lived experiences to be shared, and
yes,
there was constructive conversation. And there
yes,
was a lot of leaders from all different parastatals, and in that place, people were there to listen as well. It was
yes,
listen and let me tell you how it
yes.
impacted me, and people talking
Wonderful.
about their parents' experiences. So you had the lived experiences from both the survivors and the victims. And for me, it just fired me up anew to say more people need to know, and
Yes,
most the support needs to be opened up. So I'm channeling the event for this year to target more of the audiences, and also to focus on that aspect of trauma to support
mm,
them through. Because when I do that, and I know that people would own up, well, there's so many people that still haven't put in their form for the compensation, and it's simply because of that initial start. You need to own it, you need to relive it, you need to recount
yes,
it. And that
yes.
in itself is a major journey.
Yes, well, it's not on the same scale. Well, some might say, well, what am I talking about? But, maybe because it was made more public, and, there were lives lost, more lives lost in that situation with South Africa. It seems like it was a bigger thing, but it's a similar thing, I would say, to what happened in South Africa afterwards, where they had to sit and just talk about what happened with apartheid, and look at how are we going to forgive, how are we going to just acknowledge and own that this is what happened, and these are the wounds, but we've got to build from here. So it's a similar situation, not to the same extent that we're having here in the United Kingdom. And it's interesting to hear, at least from the London perspective, because there people have already gotten some compensation. I know we had a similar, the Windrush, the commissioner, he came, but I was not well at the time, so I could not attend. Your one of your counterparts here, Professor Uzo Iwobi, she's
Oh yeah,
flying
oh
the
yeah,
flag
she was there as well.
here in Wales. And so she hosted that event. It was an incredible event. The feedback was, I had what they call FOMO. I was so upset I couldn't be there, but I just wasn't well enough. But it seemed as if people felt like their voices were heard. He
Yes,
was really very, very well received. And it has had such a, to my mind, it started things off for there to be change in terms of how people feel about how they are treated about it, because it's not just the treatment, it's the how you're treated about the treatment is one of the
indeed.
things
Yeah,
that people are concerned about. And that's, so because of that, the trust issue is a problem. So it takes me now to Ronke, about trust, because we are blessed to have a young one amongst us. And trust, you're looking at, I'm sure all of what's been happening. Your mother has been doing because my daughter, she's so aware of what I'm doing, because of course you can't escape it if your mother is involved in that way. So how, Adronke, would you have to unmute yourself? Do you think for the youth coming up now, trust? Share with me about that.
I think trust means different things to different people. I'm currently on a program right now. I'm at Oxford University, so I'm chilling in the room right now, joining. I'm part of an organization called KINSIS, and I was a beneficiary of their program.
Called what?
KINSIS, KINSIS.
Okay.
And it's known as the Black Women's Project at universities across the UK. And it was founded at Warwick with my first degree. And I joined because I'd gone through the pandemic, and I was like, how can I meet new people, make new friends? And how can I trust the institution to do things for me that needs to be done? My mum mentioned cultural competency. You know, some of these spaces aren't as inclusive as they would want to be, and it's not their own fault. It's just because of the things that already the systems that have existed, that, you know, will take a while to sort of wash away and come through. And that space existed for us and helped us work with these institutions to create spaces for us that are safe and where we can build our trust and benefit programs that really represent the values that we're seeking to develop and, I guess, reflect elsewhere that we go to. So trust right now in this program is being paired up with people who need additional support and being trusted to understand, not just to respond. They're coming from spaces or places where their first spaces are not safe and there's no trust there. Those spaces can be in the family, home and unit, at certain educational institutions. And it's about ensuring that whatever trust it's like for them is reflected and is relatable, it's necessary. Trust is a foundation that needs to be built upon. So places and organizations like KINSIS that have existed for, I guess, 10 years now, that have been working through methodologies and through research and trial and error, trusting them to, I guess, work with spaces that need additional support in ensuring that young people are safe and secure is rather important. So, you know, I went to work, I went to York, and I enjoyed my time there, and I loved my time there. But there were times I looked around and I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't find anybody else. who can I guess, trust with my experiences to know that they kind of understand and feel the same way. And I guess that's where there's my mum supporting me, work with KINSIS, just other spaces too. So I think trust, it looks like, you know, can I trust you with my experiences? Can I trust you with my voices and opinions? And can I trust you to listen to me, to understand what I'm going through, not just to respond? Because I'm young, but I know what I'm talking about is my own experience.
Absolutely, young lady. Yes.
Very good.
Yeah, fantastic. And you know, and you're at Oxford, you say. So what are you reading at Oxford?
Oh, I'm not studying here. Well, not yet anyway. My journey of education is not finished. But Oxford is kindly hosting KINSIS on their program. So we've got girls from Warwick, Birmingham, and Southampton. So we've got all our girls here who will go on to go back in September and lead the Black Women's Projects at their respective universities. So it's really exciting.
Wow. Well, my dear, Oxford could do with you, I can tell you that, for anything. You are incredible. Thank you. And what you said, it takes me to the thing about allyship, you know, because that's what I kept coming into my mind when you talked about, you know, these organizations that were there and wanting to see somebody that looks like you and wanting to feel safe. It's allyship. And people say, oh, you're talking about allyship. You'll never get away from allyship, because you need to have that person who has that influential position, who can open the doors and who can actually say, no, this is not right. How about thinking about that on behalf of the person who can't speak, or that person who can, through their allyship, give you the confidence to speak when you can, because sometimes we don't speak when we can. It's because we don't feel we have permission. It's not been translated to us. It's not been communicated effectively. So that ally that can see, well, I don't think we are not communicating properly because they're not getting it, instead of thinking, oh, they don't want to speak. Clearly, you don't make them feel safe if that's really in your heart, you know? So I'm very impressed. So you are now going to go back and take that learning back with you and develop the areas that you all come from, the different leaders that are there with you. Is that what they're going to do? So they're going to go back to different parts in the UK now?
Yes, they'll be going back to universities in September, and
Yes.
I guess doing all the things that we taught them. So we had a meeting with the Financial Conduct Authority today. So they came down and spoke to the girls about, investments and how to, use a credit card and things like that. They're getting that out of school learning, like my mum likes to call it. My mum would
Absolutely.
all the time, subscriptions, and getting us that educational, I guess, outlook on life that exists outside of the classroom. So they're having things about finding their superpower, advocacy, working with their universities, because universities genuinely want to do better. They genuinely want to be more diverse. And I know that at work, especially, the sociology department was incredible. I thoroughly enjoyed my time there, and they were great in making sure that the education there was inclusive. So looking at academics that are from, Africa and Asia, keeping things diverse in that space. So King's tries to do the same thing too with their program. So yeah, the girls are enjoying it and they're great. And yeah.
Oh, that is brilliant. And I am so thrilled to hear that that's happening. And you said something, the universities want to do the right thing. And that just underscores one of my great sentiments, is that it's not that people don't want to do it, but they just don't know how to do it. They want to do it. They have the heart to do it. And together we have to help good people be better. That's what it's all about. Help good people, equip good people, and create that kind of groundswell and that ripple effect. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Kemi, you must be bursting with pride.
Indeed, I am. She's done a lot of work there at both Warwick and York, and it's good to see her giving back, because that's what I call it. It's the time she's spending in Oxford now.
Yes.
Even if she'll go there and do a PhD, but for now, she's giving back.
Oh, well, I know she's definitely soon be doctor. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Is it Aderonke? Is that how you pronounce it?
Aderonke, yes.
I got it first.
Bernie, can I just sort of add a perspective here, because I did this prior to getting involved with CMI as a volunteer. I did the CMI Level 7 Equality and Diversity and Inclusion Strategy.
Yeah.
And I think one of my massive takeaways from that academic and reflective learning was about access to resources and how there needs to be an equality of access to resources for all. Because if resources are biased to some groups more often or to a greater extent than others, there is a likelihood that some of those people will be more privileged and therefore their life chances may be better. So I think, Aderonke's been talking about that there for me. And when you talk about allyship as well, it's really the importance of, what are the basket of resources that are available that should be equally available to everybody. And it's really important as leaders and community partners that we make sure everyone has equal access to resources, because it's then through that everyone is competing on a level platform in terms of building their skills and capabilities to improve their life chances.
Yes, fantastic. So with CMI, you've actually you work on the resources and getting materials and so on available and accessible. Can you want to tell us a bit about that, since you've
So within my role on the Southwest CMI board and also being part of the national network within CMI, access to resources in relation to learning will have an impact on life chances of individuals and communities. So within that, obviously being based in the southwest of England, which has a particular diverse profile across all of the protected characteristics, one of the things that we're interested in Southwest is how do we make the resources equitably available to a broad range of people to improve and enhance everyone's life chances. So we've got various sort of campaigns and resources that we're promoting and marketing across various networks to increase awareness. And I just wanted to showcase a few of the resources that are available to everyone to have a look at on the intranet, which may be of use for anyone that's interested in increasing their understanding of equality, diversity and inclusion. Because there's the management mission that is available on the intranet, which is about how better leaders can improve public services. Remember, within public services, we want them to increasingly to be more inclusive, as we go forward, to enrich the outcomes of the organisation, to improve and offer services that are more representative of the communities that are served. There's the Walking the Walk CMI report, the foreword by Trevor Phillips, which talks about the importance of increasingly, as we're going forward, kind of co-creating a more contemporary approach to equality, diversity and inclusion, reflecting on lived experience of the past, but current affairs as well, and how do we take that forward. There's the Filling the Gaps, tackling gender pay gap, why it matters, an important resource there. And there's also an inclusive management webinar that was recently hosted by Sir Trevor Phillips, which pulls together a huge range of diverse perspectives, but also based on many of these resources that are available from CMI. So I just really want to showcase those resources. So they're for the world and access on the intranet. You don't need to be a member of or a formal participant within CMI. And I'd really advocate those resources to everyone listening to have a look at, you know, to the extent that you'd like to, because I'm sure you will learn something by even shedding some light on those resources.
Knowledge is power. You have got to keep increasing your knowledge, getting the information, because otherwise you're going to end up in a information bubble. Yes. And then therefore you then becoming, as I say in my book, it's taken me a long time, and I'm almost finished before I mention my book. I'm losing it. I'm losing my touch. Yes, as I say in my book, Master in Diversity, we go together and not to talk. But in all seriousness, that is what this conference is. With all of this here is what the conference is predicated on, and the awards. And I say that if we remain contained and confined in the walls of our own lived experiences, to the exclusion of that of others, we run the risk of falling prey to mediocrity, becoming redundant, and of no use to anyone. So that is so important what you're saying. The more we engage with all the information, we sift it out, and here's a thought. Maybe our idea is not the correct one, and we want to listen to something else. We've got to be open about it. We've got to learn from everybody. That's why we also have the documentary. The documentary is, it was over 2 years ago. We started the work from the first conference in 3 years now, the 2023 conference. We started interviewing people across Wales and a couple from outside of Wales. And what we wanted to do was to find out, instead of having a written report, because some people don't want to read, and then also to have a variety of ways in which we can engage with information. I thought, let's do a documentary. And we have an incredible research scientist, Georgios Dimitropoulos, who at the time he was the head of the Swansea University Media Suite. He's gone on now to launch into his own organization, but he's based now at the University of South Wales. And he said, yes, we're on it. So we actually interviewed a cross section, and we had a private screening, didn't we? I think you
came over one evening.
Yes, with the private screening. Well, it's going to be the full public screening is going to be at the Senate on the 18th of November, which is going to be the day, you've heard it here first in public, everyone, the 18th of November at 5 p.m. It will precede and it will lead into our second annual Master in Diversity Awards at the Senate. It's sponsored by the Honorable Vaughan Gethin, MS. And we're going to be showcasing a lot of those lived experiences just to get a bit more, as you say, about the information about others. And the launch of the awards are tomorrow, and we need people to nominate. Yes, it's mainly in Wales. Most of the nominations will come from, but I'm not going to eliminate people who are from outside of Wales, who are impacting Wales and collaborating with Wales. Hint, hint. So nominate when it's launched tomorrow, the awards. Yes. And so I just wanted at this point, because I try to give my guests, and we're coming to that stage, believe that we're coming to the end, not too far from the end of the hour. It's crazy how these hours pass. And I'd like to give an opportunity to you to tell us, what we've talked about so many things, but what is it? And I'm going to bring you into it as well, Aderonke. You are amazing. And after at the end, I want us to all stay behind because I want to have a little chat. So my guests, please don't leave at the end of the this hour. But what would you like the people who are listening now and the ones who are going to get their coffee tonight and listen to it? What is it that you would like them to not forget? What would you like them to hold dear from what you've shared? I will start at Aderonke. I'm going to start with you. What you want us to not forget about what you've shared? Oh, let me spotlight you.
I would like them not to forget that it is okay to outsource the work. And what I mean by that is my mum's work with the Home Office and the Windrush scheme. It was the idea that my mum is using her position in the community to sort of bridge the gap between the Home Office and the community to get the compensation. She is not necessarily the voice, it's the Home Office as the voice, but she is the face. And that face is what brings in the trust and the people. I think it's important that if you know you're trying to do work in a certain area and you're not maybe the best person to sort of communicate the sort of work, it's okay to bring someone else in who can speak to the community in a language that they understand. What I'm doing now, again with Kinsis, we're brought in to work with Black female students because we also are Black women. So we know what they've been through, what they're going to go through, and we use that to our advantage. So I think it's important that, if you want to be an ally, a mentor, we want that too. If you also want to outsource the work, there's no shame in that. We can all work together to, I guess, be more diverse and inclusive in our practices.
Yes, we go together or not at all. Have you been reading my book, Aderonke? but in all seriousness, yes, we have to be prepared to share the glory. That's pretty much what you're saying. It's not about being selfish because the mission is bigger than us, and we find that we'll do so much better with more with 2 or 3 or 4 or 100 than a little thing holding it so close to us because it's not about us. Thank you for that, Aderonke. Right, and now I'll go to Kemi. I'll give you the last word in that one respect. I'll go to Roger now. Okay.
There's a few things, Bernie. I think overall, I think there's a few things I'd like people to take away and reflect upon. One of which is about being demanding of whether, in regard to the subject of diversity and inclusion, whether you've got a fixed or a growth mindset, because probably we're only as good as our capability on diversity and inclusion 6 months ago, because the context and the environment and events are moving all the time. So I think it's really important that everyone, if they can, commit to an ongoing development program in regard to equality, diversity and inclusion, for those reasons that, what we knew 6 months ago, we can carry forward, but there will likely be new learnings, new perspectives, ideas, and also lived experiences in the world that may lead us and want us to look at things differently. So really get committed to this continuous professional development learning journey in regard to the subject. And then the other thing for me is to remember that we all have our own lived experiences, and our lived experiences may differ in terms of the event and what formed the event. But the manifestation in the human condition of that lived experience will likely be similar, where it may impact on people's mental health. It may lead to people feeling excluded. It may lead to people feeling left behind, etc. So I think for me, Bernie, it's that thing as well about, if all of us will have had lived experiences where we've been excluded, but then how we felt when those happened to us will be the same as others feel, even if the event or the stimulus that led to the exclusion is different. And I'd really encourage everyone to look into themselves and think about where they felt excluded and just think about how they felt and then cross-reference that with others, because that's exactly how they'll feel, even if the stimulus or the lived experience is different.
That is brilliant. Thank you so much. That is that. Yeah. Kemi, let me spotlight you. Yeah.
Thanks, Bernie.
Yes.
Well, I want people to take away this, to always show up with purpose and be ready to challenge the status quo. I'm going to touch on and continue where Roger left it with the lived experiences, because that was what I was going to talk about. And there's a power that lives in there, you know, to translate that, the empathy, the trust, it helps to make better decisions. That is what we need to connect better with people and to be generous in sharing it as much as we are comfortable, realizing that the entirety of that story, something will resonate and connect to somebody and help them. Lived experience actually dispels insular culture. It opens the doors for others to lead. And we need to now leverage on that, do what we can, but be conscious that we need extension, and that be people and that be community charities to keep making a difference. So show up with purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. Show up with purpose. I just think it's absolutely it's incredible. I couldn't have crafted this better, because at the end of the day, right, we have to it's powerful. What did Kemi just say? The power of the lived experience that Roger believes that we need to be very, very committed to. Understanding lived experience. Yes. Keep the learning going, the continuous professional development, not to get the CPD point or to just stick. No, no, no. We really want to learn. And why do we want to learn? Because we have to be generous with that knowledge. If we're not generous, if we don't know anything, then we can't be generous with the knowledge. We can't share. And then if we don't share, as Aderonke says, we will then not be as effective, because when we share, we understand the power of the lived experience, and we understand the power of the collective. We will have no problem in outsourcing. We'll have no problem in having someone else be the face for us, if that's the trusted face. Because the real agenda is not to exalt ourselves, but the real agenda is to break down the barriers. It's to learn and understand how people are feeling and come up with the solutions that, as Roger said, is what they need to feel safe, not we think that they need. And it's continuously finding that out, because sometimes we ourselves are learning what is it that we need. Not, we don't all know what we need. Sometimes we have to tease it out of their heads through conversations, tease it out of their heads by trying something, and then they think, oh, I thought that was okay. It's okay for them to change their mind as well. Because remember, it's new for some of the people that we're helping. It's new for them to be asked, what do you need?
Mm-hmm.
Because usually they're given what we think they need. So we have to be, especially with the Windrush generation, we have to help them to even find out what will make them truly feel that they have finally been listened to, truly feel that they can put a closure on it, and truly be able to leave the right legacy for the young ones that are the wrong K, to empower them. So the young ones aren't coming up dealing with the things that they're dealing with. The young ones are dealing with other issues, that because life will always have issues, but it's not the same issue. It's not Groundhog Day, we're actually developing. So we're on our last minute. And I want to thank everyone. Please look at the scrolling banner here, how you can get in touch with Roger. You can join the conference. The conference details are there. They were scrolling along. I don't know if we were so engaging you didn't notice it, but masteringdiversity.com, you can book, and you can book your free access to that. But you can also connect with Roger on LinkedIn. You can connect with Kemi. I've put their LinkedIn details there. When you look back on, it's a live link. It's there. You'll see it. You can just go on back on when you rewatch, get their connections. Aderonke, how do they find you, Aderonke? Where are you on LinkedIn? You're on LinkedIn, yes, because we have young people within our organization. We have such incredible young people that are looking for other young people who have other experiences. So we're on 5 o'clock, and it's a wrap. Thank you so, so much. And I just leave you with my mantra. Yes, we go together or not at all. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Don't leave, guys. Thank you. Right. We're back.
We are back.